Good afternoon, everyone. If you thought the snows across the northeast and central United States were rare a couple weeks before summer, China is experiencing the exact same thing. Let's take a look through Mount e-mei. So rare, tourists are up there taking photos. 7 inches in Gansu. A full-on blizzard with 2.5 feet of snow in Xinjiang. House collapsed because of snow weight and they rescued this woman. Unbelievable footage. This is up near Beijing and Hebei. It's that thick, wet, heavy snow. And across the top 10 headlines today, 4 of them are weather-related across China with rainstorms, flooding, atmospheric compression events, windstorms, and to top it all off with the drought and cold and extreme wet, they're going to have trouble growing crops this year. We'll take a look at the wheat production as well as the imports of China that are going to skyrocket. Taking a look today through CCTV and Xinhua News, you'll see that the top 10 stories coming out of China are weather-related. We have mega floods, several locations across the country affecting grain production, heavy rains, windstorms, and these are absolutely atmospheric compression events like we saw in Florida with those almost foot of rain with no hurricane. They're experiencing the same thing in the central and southern areas here in China. Additionally, blizzards in Xinjiang, rare snows across Sichuan Province, also Gansu Province and Hebei Province. That is 4 provinces, borderline in Yunnan as well, which would make 5 provinces with snow, and it is just weeks before summer. This comes right on the heels of the coldest winter they've had in 60 to 80 years across the entire Asian continent this year. This was when all the boats were frozen in harbor across the entire coastline of northeastern China when they had those ice pancakes that locked down the entire coastal region for weeks. Now I pulled back the weather chart here in April so you can't come and say, well, you're just pulling up the May chart. Well, let's look at the April temperatures where it should be. Around 30 degrees a little bit south of Beijing is where the one snowstorm is happening. Chengdu in the far west where it says southwest, that's where the other snowstorm is happening. It should be 27 degrees. Gansu is a little bit north of that. And Urumqi out in Xinjiang in the far west is where the other snowstorms are occurring. So let's take a look right in Sichuan. This is a grain vegetable production area. Wet, heavy snows blanketing the mountains there, especially e-mei, which is a major tourist draw. People are going up there just to take photos of the snow. It's so rare. They haven't really had many instances of this, except going back into the records and taking a look at, guess what? The Yuan dynasty, the Tang dynasty, right before they collapsed. Taking a look at Gansu, this is an amazing area up here. We're going to take a look in Hezuo City. This is the area in Gannan. Like I say, wow, just stunning countryside up here with Tibetan monasteries, hiking galore, yaks, you name it. Their average temperatures for May should be around 15 C, but they just got 7 inches of snow, completely rare even in that area. Take a look in Hezuo downtown. Look at the thickness of the snow, especially on the cars. Look at the accumulation there through the city center. Now, the cities are heat islands anyway, so for it to accumulate that much on the streets, roads, trees, and byways around in the actual city, you know, it had to be a lot heavier and denser just in the countryside. As you know, there's no Twitter, etc. in China. They're pretty locked down on their media there. I had to use Central State Media to get this report. It's the best I can do. Bear with me. Inner Mongolia, otherwise known as Neimenggu, they had this house collapse because of snow weight, and they had the rescue live here on film. This woman was completely buried, people running in with shovels, and they actually pulled her out. I was like, whoa, that's some of the most amazing rescue footage. People were digging with their bare hands to get her out. Wow, I'm going to give props to those rescuers there. Hebei Province, which is right near Beijing. Now, Chengdu is the area in exactly where it snowed. Now, we could take a look at what the average high and low temperatures historically are. Now, this occurred on the 14th. Should be 74 degrees. But we get blankets of snow coming across that area. This is rare and unusual as well. It should not be snowing like this. 2 weeks before summer in China, this is considered one of the furnaces of China. There's actually 4 cities where it gets incredibly hot in the summer and it gets incredibly cold in the winter. This is one of the 4 furnace cities. Should be scalding hot, around 30 there right now, but they're getting snow. Now let's go completely out west into Urumqi and Xinjiang. They just had a blizzard out there, closing roads amok through everywhere. Had to come in with heavy machinery to get through and unblock several of the passes and the different roadways through the valleys there. You can see the depth and accumulation. That is not a couple inches, that's feet. Now this is the wheat growing areas in question. Now you can see those last provinces that are overlapping where all of this snow and these floods are occurring, definitely having a little effect this year on grain production. Now, if we look at the top 15 wheat producing regions of the planet, China is in that area. So if Chinese production is stifled or stymied, they're going to have to start importing more. Now, Brazil's in a drought for the corn, etc. You know, China does import soy, rice, wheat, and corn. So their central government's going to be looking for tens of millions of extra tons of grain to import this year due to the offset losses that are occurring right now. If we take a look at the crop monitor, this is a global. I'll start you off with a small chart here just so we can see the crops. The legend is at the very bottom on the right side. You can see maize, which is corn. We got wheat, soybeans, and rice. Take a look over in China where you see the red and yellow. Those are difficult growing conditions currently. Southeast Asia, and you look at Turkey, right above Africa there. Don't know why they're not reporting anything. That's a major breadbasket area as well. If we look at South America, extreme drought down there, so absolutely poor harvest for soya and maize. That's a little bit more in-depth chart that shows you the reason for the coloration on the map here. Now I wanted to draw your attention right in the central area into Southeast Asia. That little snowflake means cold. The next symbol to the right means drought, and the crop affected is rice. Isn't that interesting? I thought it was supposed to be the warmest year ever. And here we are, growing difficulties with our crops because of cold 2 weeks before summer officially starts. And actually in Southeast Asia, it is summertime already. You know, in North America, it's lagging behind a couple of weeks. But once it hits into April, first weeks of May are considered summer down there. So it's actually cold in summer officially. And when we do look in the Chinese areas for production, that little rain cloud means floods are affecting planting. And also the soil conditions, you can't really plant in muddy, soggy soils as such. So if we take a look in the overlap where the grain production is, with that map we just looked at, you can see there's going to be a significant push on spring wheat prices coming out of China. Inner Mongolia, Neimungu, that's at one affected area. Hebei, just south of Beijing. And if we jump down to far west where it says Chengdu in Sichuan, that's the e-mei snows. If you come further south down around Taiwan, you get down to Hong Kong, Hainan Island. That's the area that's having all the flooding. So you can see there's a tremendous strain on the crops this year there. This is not rocket science. We're not looking into a crystal ball. We're not using magic. We're using history. Cycles repeat. You can see the playbook and where it's going pretty clearly right now. I, along with others, was calling this last year, that intensification would begin this year. There'll be crop losses due to drought and cold. And these countries that generally grow all of our commercial grain crops and cereal crops are going to have to start importing, which is going to push the price on food globally. So you know what? Market, I'm calling it right now, corn at $7.50 US to $8 US a bushel by October this year. That's going to be doubling the corn price. Market right now. That's my forecast. Thanks for watching. Hope you got something out of the video. Consider supporting me on Patreon. I'm uploading my videos all there. If you like what I'm doing, please support my work so I can continue to try to bring you the best information I can.